Is there a difference between businesses and consumers and global expectations, and then what Australian consumers are willing to act on, and I guess willing to pay for ultimately?
I'm willing to have a go at that initially. What individuals want is then facilitated by decisions by government and by industry. And what people want, you referred to building on floodplains. People want houses, and it's up to us as a society to facilitate putting houses in places that are safe and that will stay safe. The ICA released a report earlier this year that said that 77% of houses on floodplains are not insured for flood. That cost goes directly to, or ends up directly at government. So it actually, understanding some of the implications of the decisions that are being made that drive that behavior is actually a whole of society question. The insurance climate vulnerability assessment that APRA just released also said that with insurance pricing, 25% of properties are currently uninsured, they estimate, and that will rise to 50% by 2050. So I think individual behavior is important, but so is recognizing that there's a collective responsibility for this, because there's a collective cost and there's a collective benefit if we actually act with this foresight.
When you look above that detail, the important thing to remember is we can solve for more than one goal at one time. And when you sit above the detail and say, what does good look like? We know in the long term, everything that's been discussed today is the sum of what good looks like, that we can provide stable, prosperous economy with healthy homes, healthy people, healthy nature. We know that when we do nature well, the food and farming gets better. We've seen that from some of the natural capital work we do. Farmers that cared about the environment more than others accidentally won the wool prize because their wool was stronger, because the soil was better. They got better contracts from supermarkets because the fruit lasted longer. They're the co-benefits that us nerds in climate policy often used to describe as co-benefits when they're really the main game. So when you look up ahead, remember it is possible to have multiple benefits. And if we design the systems to solve for that, the rest of what feels like noise and mess actually becomes quite clear, and we can then help it move in the right direction.
And over the years, we've been on a journey of systematically incorporating climate risks into our decision-making processes. And what we found is the most effective way of doing that is to leverage our existing processes rather than try and impose another set of decision-making tools on the business. So for example, we have a very rigorous annual corporate planning process, and now we have climate considerations built into that. Any capital project or approval has to have climate considerations built into that as well. We've recently run a workshop assessing the physical risks to our main sites and understanding what the impact of hotter days has on outdoor work. You know, what does that mean for the sequencing of our shutdowns, for example? You know, you probably want to avoid doing those in December and January when there's so many people on site working, and try and schedule them in the cooler months. So lots of sort of practical insights from doing that kind of analysis.
I'd just like to ask each panelist if they could sum up one thing in one word each to leave everyone with, what would it be?
Integrate.
Perfect.
Adapt.
Optimism. It's like, we can do it. That's more than one word.
What a great
Has
note
to be
to leave us on.
intentional.
Thank you so much.